Welcome everybody, come to my lodge. The only thing is upstairs, one of kid actually is sick right now, so please stay in the first floor. Okay, all right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Slowly. Okay,
can we have to wait. Yeah, you have to.
Okay, the students want you to. Okay. No, let's. Yeah, we just opened the gate. Okay, sorry. I think this is a dialogue between the VC and the students. Can all the friends from the media stay outside the gate, okay?
Just hold it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Like, you can't.
I think we just open.
Yeah, we just open it.
Open it. There's a sensor. Could you go back a little bit?
Sorry， 各位啊。喂，唔得。
嗰邊褪後少少，冇遮住個 sensor。
你嚟啊！你講啊！你話校長想係咯？
褪後少少。
咩啊？你遮住個 sensor 啊？
你遮住個 sensor 得唔得？
我校咗個咪啦。兩邊褪。麻煩可能
記者朋友，校長想同同學講為主啊。OK， somebody taller than I。
Okay.
開咗一集先，
褪後少少好唔好？
大家褪後少少，因為嗰個阻住咗。大家一齊得啦，慢慢嚇。
唔好向前啦。
唔好推住啊！
又遮住咗。
衞生頭先，衞生。
慢慢嚟，唔使急。
好，等陣啊。
唔使心急。
好。
The other side. Okay, please come in. Yeah.
開大佢。
Slowly, please.
開大。等。
OK， 慢慢啦，小心嚇，大家別驚，OK。
They all know actually. Second floor.
大家要喺第一層位
學生後邊啲學生。
俾啲學生俾啲位。
後邊啲學生。
邊度？
Yeah, it's so good that you finally
talk
about it. And this is my suggestion that maybe we can stay outdoors because I know there's gas in your house, in your lounge. So and your lounge cannot hold like other students. Yeah. So I hope if you are really inviting students into this lounge, I think it is better for us to stay outdoors. Like here. Yeah. In your.
As long as actually, I want to make sure all the students are happy, and we want to welcome you. The only thing is that one of my guests is sick in the second floor.
We completely understand. So we guess it is not even a good idea for us to get into the first floor. So I think like staying outdoor would be the best option.
Okay.
We just spread around.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I will help arrange the students to come into this lounge area.
All right. Actually, let them the first floor.
Stay outside.
Okay.
我哋而家會開燈俾啲同學。
點解佢哋？
So
你睇有冇燈先冇燈。
冇燈開係咪？
冇拉長，冇拉長。
冇燈開喎。
So there is no lighting.
yeah. Let's see.
如果係冇燈光而大家去覺得就因為
The lighting.
Professor Zhang.
Yeah. So
Students would like to invite you to, like instead of, excuse me,
Sure.
Students instead of staying in the lounge area, they hope that you can go to the campus area to talk about it. So maybe, because I guess University Drive is not really a good venue as well. What about we go back to Sun Yat-sen
I
Place?
think this yard, because actually
Yeah, I
the
know.
kid is sick and is my guest. I have to,
completely understand.
and
But
I'm only adult in
because
the house right
students
now.
are quite, they don't really feel comfortable in the yard. Like this place is not that familiar to them. So I guess they suggest staying on University Drive, but I think it is also considerable to go to the Sun Yat-sen place.
How about that? You know, backyard use.
To be in the house so that the VC can listen to some of the voices. So that's the reason.
Yeah.
No, I think the president is worried about his sick guest on the second floor. And he in the house is the only adult who is responsible for the
kids,
safety and
actually.
well-being. So if he leaves here, and I don't know for how long, I mean, he would be responsible for whatever happens to the kids.
Then I guess students would like to stay near the gate to talk about it instead of coming into the yard.
Sure.
Yeah.
The gate.
All right.
Yeah.
What? The gate?
Yeah.
I know it's a bit narrow, but they feel more comfortable there,
Well,
and
inside
I
there's
do
a lot of
understand their
space.
concern. So
Okay.
I guess
They prefer not to come in?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I guess
Yeah, the only thing is we have to occupy the sort of road, but this time is probably not too bad.
What about
Now it's not
we
too bad.
move downward a little bit so we spare more space.
As long as there's a car, we can.
I'll go to a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's fine.
The technical arrangement is also manager of their house. And they just want, they don't want to come into your place, they just want me to to show the sincerity. I read your statement, but they were not very nasty. They were
Understand. So then he couldn't stand, so I was thinking about to send him to the hospital. So I think now the traffic is probably okay. Inside actually is more space. They prefer not. Thank you all for coming.
He came back.
I think they will be under control. You know, the student union is also self-concerned. So just keep the conversation going. Don't reject anything. Even if you don't accept it, you would just say we will continue to accept. And I'm just saying it's concerned.
慢慢我哋都要喺嗰個位做㗎啦，好嘛？
即係喺閘口中間邊穿個位。
我呢度邊啊嘛 I just live nearby.
Oh,
Yeah, so I can come in 5 minutes. I'm lucky. Yeah.
thank you for that.
係有啲逼嘅，大家將手。點解俾咁多個？你哋喺翻呢個睇住嗰啲油啊嘢，大家。大家 OK。邊個 David 啊？邊個 David？等記者朋友 fix 咗先嚇，等啲記者朋友俾你記得好嗎？
This side? Okay. Oh.
They save the place for you. So please, for media 朋友唔該喺翻呢個位啊，因為校長企嗰位大家影唔到嘅，好冇？即係你企翻喺個閘口呢邊等佢哋有個對話，好唔好啊？唔該晒。
Everybody can see me.
Yes, exactly. That is the height thing. Yeah, that's the height thing that you have to.
邊個講呢個説話係？邊位講㗎？邊位講啊？我哋聽下 David 啦，好嘛？聽下商會會長啦，好冇？嗱，褪翻落少少，好嘛？大家都影到，好冇 ？OK， 小心遊山，小心啊，小心。OK， 嗱，我哋喺路口頂有時大家小心啲嚇。
我諗記者朋友要坐低，如果唔係咧，校長唔可以同學生對話㗎。記者朋友可唔可以坐低影啊？你會 block 住後邊啲同學啊，見唔到校長啊。
Professor Zhang, students would like to see like get what I say. Then they suggest Professor Zhang the corner, driving in to turn around. Yeah.
我樓梯嗰度。
係樓梯。
大家一齊落去先啦。
Wow, so fast.
While they set up.
Yeah. Good. So they are going to. No, I'm fine.
They're making the different rooms so that everybody can sit down.
Wow, all the lighting is up.
I think we can now go through the crowd and stand on the steps.
小心啲嚇，一樣啊，麻煩有一樣個，一個下邊喎，係啊，下邊嗰個大家要小心啊！喺下邊個轉彎位，大家小心啊！小心。
啊？
向左右邊讓俾傳媒，向左行，右邊讓俾傳媒啊 ！OK。小心啊！劉姐，小心。
Good people like that.
小心。啲樓梯睇住。我哋都睇住。新手文字真係。
其實係咪要唔要揾個 stand 俾佢企？如果佢唔多樓梯，嗰度得。
Okay, so that actually will be an area.
Let them settle. 唔該曬，睇住啊！小心，應該喺呢邊，我要同由嗰邊路出嚟。OK。David 喺邊度啊 ？David。
Hey, sorry. Just come in. I think you can do it. Okay. Go to the steps. Yeah, stand on the steps. Excuse me. Not here. Stand on the steps. Stand on the steps.
排喺度好唔好啊？各位行家。
喂。校長要企喺呢個位啊！
係啦。
企喺呢度。咁你行入去。咁啊，拆咗你呢個位，高啲啊，好唔好？睇到晒咯。
小心，好難整㗎。
麻煩如果係media 朋友都，如果係想喺呢個位嘅話，就可能
你要首先同佢講下你點樣想。
麻煩各位傳媒朋友，因為咧我哋後面都仲有好多同學嘅，介意咧坐低踎低，
或者前面呢度仲有少少位嘅。
係啦，咁令到後面嘅同學都睇得到啊！
小心啊，慢慢唔急嘅。
各位傳媒朋友，我而家喺呢邊啊，大家集中喺呢邊。喂，記者唔該晒
俾我哋。
影張相先 ，OK？ 影張相之後大家再睇下。
Yeah, or would you prefer this one?
This is good.
So just by then, just now I let go of
各位傳媒朋友，我哋今日有個目的咧，就想同校長溝通嘅。如果咁樣嘅話咧，我哋不但見唔到校長之餘，亦都冇辦法同你溝通，聽到大家講嘢。所以可唔可以麻煩各位傳媒朋友拍下檔？麻煩傳媒朋友可能要
放低少少，可能要低炒多少少咁樣。係啦，麻煩晒大家啊！
好，亦都有一樣俾各位傳媒朋友企兩邊啊！
係啦，或者係啦，如果各位記者朋友可以企兩邊嘅話，就更加好啦，麻煩晒大家。
OK 嘅。
阿 Sam 唔俾嗰度人掛上手，影住校長府嘅嗰度。入去嗰個同主任影住我。
可唔可以踎低少少啊？唔該曬。因為我要收音啊。你收音一，你俾我前少少，掩埋遮曬。你前啲啊！你前啲啊！你前啲啊！我遮住啲 cam 㗎啦，前後啲 cam 喺度。
唔係，如果你收音咧，你企側邊喺隔離都 OK 嘅，OK 嘅。
大佬你咁高，你遮曬。
不如開咗三腳擺埋邊位咧？你揈嚟揈去喺我前面嚟影佢，你三腳都咁嘥，單腳仲冇睇。各位傳媒朋友啊，我哋今日有個目的咧，就真係想同校長對話嘅。如果咁樣嘅話咧，我哋就真係有啲難同校長對話。咁我哋已經預留咗個空間咧，俾各位傳媒朋友，唔知大家介唔介意咧？向你嘅右邊稍移用到去我哋。係咪遮住啊？area， 咁啊大家咧個視野。你可唔可以坐喺樓梯邊或者坐喺斜坡位呢啲？係咪收聲啲？落兩級係嘛 ？OK， go down 2 steps。
係咪大家都睇到啦？係。傳媒朋友都 OK 啊嘛
？OK， 好
，thank you。
呢度咧咁令到大家都聽得到大家講咩啊
Okay, first of all, I appreciate Professor Zhang for coming out today, stepping out of his lounge to meet students and meeting us and listening to us to hear what we really want to say. So today, I guess this meeting on University Drive would be best conducted after I give a brief introduction and then let Professor Zhang to speak a bit of his thought afterwards. Then I think it is better to open to the floor. So if any Hong Kong U students would like to speak to Professor Zhang or ask any question, then helpers from the University Affairs Committee would really like to assist and give you the speaker. Then you can ask Professor Zhang your questions or give him your thoughts. And firstly, let me first reiterate the demands and requests that we would like to give Professor Zhang. The first one is to withdraw the statement you made on the 3rd of July and stop condemning protesters in the anti-extradition bill campaign. Secondly, we would like you to plead to uphold, to safeguard the freedom of expression of students and staff in Hong Kong U. Last but not least, we want you to withdraw and stop any kind of follow-up action against any students or
and our staff that participate in the recent protests and also future protests as well. And may us have the chance to listen to your views and your thoughts that you would like to share with us, the students.
Well, first, is that can you hear me?
No, not really. That's not very good.
Okay, sorry.
Not very good.
If you really, if you
Okay.
want.
You can hear, right? First of all, I'd like to extend my warm welcome you to the lodge. Today, my apology that I couldn't attend the event. I have a guest, a young guest, actually a kid, who is a sec in my lodge, and I'm the only adult in the lodge. Let me say a few words, and again, I'm very impressed to see how orderly our students today come into the lodge, and so I really appreciate everyone at this late still stay up and talk to me, and I treasure this opportunity to have a communication. As student union chairman just say that there are three questions about various of issues related with recent events, which I have already give my response 2 days ago. And yesterday also I translate that into Chinese and more specifically to a broader audience. But let me say a few words. Actually, I think all of you probably agree with me. Violence is not the solution. And we all concerned, and we know that, you know, I'm learning still, as I said in the statement, that Hong Kong is facing a great challenge. And we all know that it's probably deeper than what the surface looks like. And there are deeper social, economic, and other issues that we all need to study and understand. And for me, it has been here, by next week actually will be exactly 1 year, and I still on the learning curve. But let me say that we appreciate the society, students concerned those issues. And this is a very good, actually, this is all democratic society, and society with the freedom should be about. But I have to say, the violence is not the solution, and we all have to work together to mend our difference, to look at how we can come up with creative solutions to solve the problems. So here once again, as I said 2 days ago in the longer email to the internal community of HKU community, family, that we against violence in any form, by any type, by anybody, any party, at any juncture, okay? So that is not, you know, just one group or the other group. It's anybody perform or conduct violence should not be encouraged. So that's my actually sort of context of, you know, why I made the short statement in July 3rd. Secondly, Stephen mentioned that the question regarding the freedom of academic freedom, freedom of expression, and freedom of assembly. And we all witness this great university. Even you put out the posters, I told my colleagues, we still treasure this freedom because you can express yourself freely. And I'm happy to see that, honestly speaking. So I think those are the cornerstone of a great university at Hong Kong U and in Hong Kong. So I also already pledged 2 days ago in my longer email that we will uphold these principles, these values, absolutely. And number 3, I believe, is about student participation of social movement, whether they will get receive the disciplinary actions at the university. As you know that, and again, as I stated very clearly yesterday in the statement, many of you probably already see, and we sent to press as well, that in the past, for any student participate the peaceful and social movement, we never see such disciplinary action. And I don't see that in the future as well. So I think the university encourages students to express your opinions and in a peaceful way and in a good manner. But however, once again, I want to remind everybody and students here that we want to reject the violence, and we hope that everybody can express yourself peacefully and with a good manner, so that everybody can enjoy an atmosphere. Not only you express yourself, but also let others express, so that we have a truly freedom that everybody have the right to express. I guess that's my short statement, and I've been traveling actually extensively in June, and as you know that I was part of the university presidents, even though I wasn't traveling, and with the other 6 or 5 universities, we issued the first statement and appeal the society and students to be well and watch out your well-being, and we hope you be safe in any of these activities. And second issued statement was when I was in America. I was attending a conference. I instructed my provost to issue a statement to the university community, HKU community. Many students probably already see that. Once again, we care about students. We care about your well-being, your health and safety, so that we request everybody to take care of yourself and also be safe. And that was the third statement. When I watched the TV, I was very frightened to see what happened in July 3rd evening. Honestly speaking, I was very worried about all the citizens' safety, including the student, that we could reach a tragedy that to the point of no return. So I was very, very frightened. And therefore, I really hope that nothing will go beyond that point. And I hope that is the context I want to give to you. Thank you very much.
I guess if you guys may allow that, I will make a short response to what Professor Zhang just said. I believe it can be difficult to make a response or a statement in such a chaotic social situation. But I would like to draw Professor Zhang's attention to 2 issues. The first one is our disappointment of the lack of empathy in the short statement that you issued. This is, I think, is the gist of the problem. We hope, especially compared to statements issued by other president and vice chancellor of other universities, the short statements to us, we expect and anticipate a little bit more empathy, not only a little bit, but more empathy to be shown in the statement. And this is what we expect from the President and Vice Chancellor of Hong Kong U. And the second one is that we also expect a little bit more support. Not only a little bit more, but full support from the university, especially in such a chaotic social situation, when students has become the target of the regime in this social movement. We are frightened. We are scared. We worry every day that the police force may storm into this campus and just randomly catch every one of us. And when we are still so scared, and our president issued a statement, we couldn't feel any support from the university. This can be very disappointing, and this is why we decided to step out and say how disappointed we are that we feel no empathy and support from the university. And I do hope, after tonight, Professor Zhang can understand a little bit more about our feelings and also thoughts. And that I hope you also understand. You will also understand that the statement issued on 3rd of July is not one that Hong Kong U students expect, and not one we would like to see be written by the President and Vice Chancellor of Hong Kong U. And is there any question from the floor? Our students' helper would give you a speaker.
Okay.
Let me first
July? And the second question is, you generally mentioned that you are against all kinds of violence. So do you think that the clash near National on 1st of July is a violence? And so that will you against this kind of violence, destructive act, as you mentioned? Thank you.
Before I answer your question, let me actually just say a few words about Devin's comments. I agree with him. Indeed, my statement on July 3rd is a short one. And I'm a scientist. I'm trained to make things concise, and maybe that's a mistake in more social context and so on. So I agree. I was, in fact, if you ask my VP and in SMT meeting, senior management meeting, I always want people to write short notes, and short letters, and short briefs. Because I'm a scientist, I speak up on mine. Now let me come back to your question. As I say, any violence should be condemned. Is not welcome, and I'm sure you will bet on me. I will not change that stand if that's come to the as far as the violence. Now 2 days ago, I believe Wednesday, that I met with, actually, by the way, you are not the first group of students I meet. I met a group of students in the plaza in front of my building. And we actually, they delivered me a letter with the 3 slightly different requests as well. We had actually a short exchange as well. And in fact, the question, let me be very frank, was, okay, please also, from these students, please also had the violence. Why not you didn't condemn them, right? Now, my answer is then and here today is the same. There is a commission already set up to investigate. I understand there is a disagreement whether this commission is good enough or have enough independence or something, which is probably up to the legal side to argue. But if the investigation outcome is that somebody at some juncture made the violence, that should be condemned as well, include the police. Okay, if the conclusion of the investigation is that. So, I guess this point is, I think, for any reasonable people. Now, let me share with you, even in the Western countries, the violence is not encouraged. That's why, many South Africa and India has heroes that they champion for non-violence, pursue the cause. But I understand that this Hong Kong society is actually really concerned with many deeper issues, which I'm learning actually accurately recently, that which is beyond the surface, what average people from outside could see. But I do agree with you that we all need to looking at those issues and how we can collectively solve those challenge problems. Thank you. Yeah, there is some.
Yeah. Who has the speaker? Yeah, please speak up.
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Is it working?
All right, testing. Hello, Professor. I'm an alumni from the university. My name is Marcus. It's very welcoming that you actually came out and meet students. And I have actually 4 questions for you. You came from UC Berkeley, and in the context of the United States, and violence is not considered as violence until there's clearly bodily damage against another person, and otherwise, I've passed the what happened in July 1st to a lot of my friends in the States, and even professors and student leaders, and the common response that I've gotten from them is that it's more like a civil disobedience than a violence, and protester wasn't doing only pure vandalism, and they were writing slogans and expressing a very clear political message against extradition law and against the distrust against the Hong Kong as well as the central government. Would you reconsider labeling labeling the movement as a civil disobedience instead of a violence, as there are clearly no bodily damage being done to any, no matter police officers or any other normal citizens that were around the area. And the second question is that, would you promise to not allow any police officers to enter the campus area and arrest any students in any cases that they were being indicted due to all the social movements that happened over June and in the past month? And the third question was a follow-up question of the second question, was that if in any cases that there were students who were arrested, what sort of support would the university offer to the students who got arrested, as well as students who might not be arrested, but they are severely depressed due to the movement and due to seeing their friends being beaten up by baton and seeing friends who got sprayed by pepper spray or tear gas bombs. So what sort of support and concrete actions would the university offer to our students? And the fourth question is that you have mentioned that you're a scientist, but before you're a scientist, you're first and foremost an intellectual. And as the previous Vice Chancellor of CUHK, Go Kwon, who has just passed away last year, he has shown a very sympathetic attitude towards the students back in the 1989 student movement. And would you, as an intellectual, support the establishment of an independent committee to investigate the police brutality, including shooting protesters at their head, including shooting press, and so on and so forth, which are clearly considered as war crimes, even in war zones or even in any wars that happen all over the world. So these are the four questions, and I hope you can reply them in a concrete manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you are really testing my memory. In fact, these are very good questions. So if I miss one, please repeat. Now, the first, if I understand correctly, the question is about the July 3rd, the violence. We are violent. So basically, you think that, or you thought I was labeling this social moment as a violent moment. Let me make it clear once for all. I didn't label the social moment itself. And I think actually the social moment generally is good. I mean, look at how many people go to the street, and most of March are very peaceful. Honestly speaking, I'm very impressed with how orderly and how people, most of, I would say, in a very orderly manner. So absolutely, this moment is not violent. Now, what I say, the violent, the action actually in that day, breaking the glass, and there could be a casualty. In an enclosed space, if there is two sides are fighting each other inside of the building, there's anything could happen. Just like football games, and then there's something happen, and then you have a casualty. And that is what my first worry. And when I watch the TV, I say, well, gee, this is going to really, really ugly. So, so let me come back to this. So I think the moment actually is understandable, and people has a right to express their anger, their disappointment, go to the street. That's all. I don't think that's violent in general. But that case really, I think, worries me tremendously. I have seen actually in my 29 years in U.S. The event in Los Angeles, in front of the White House, people got killed. Those are protesters, okay? And I have to really worry about. If we go into the tragedy, the point, there's nobody can turning back. And let me also make the other point, and I think many media friends here maybe also I'd like to make a note here, is I was actually condemned the act of that breaking the glass, really pushing to the point of the limit of tragedy. And I didn't really refer to the students because, you know, many people are there, many citizens, and so to simply say I condemn student is not, you know, right, or it's not accurate at least. So the second question, please. I forgot.
I think I will join them.
Sure.
Yeah. So actually, the first question is whether you consider identifying the incident that happened on July 4th, and which I'm particularly referring to the storming of the Legislative Council as a civil disobedience instead of a violent movement.
Sorry to interrupt. Because it's near midnight, and I know that some of the students here, they will need to catch the last train if they want to go to school. So maybe we want to propose that if we want to, like, using a method of show of hands to see if we want to continue this discussion. Maybe we try to rearrange another occasion that more students can come to join us and to have a more thorough discussion.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you agree with another open location for all students?
Yeah. We will find the other occasion.
Anytime.
Yes.
Open for all students.
Yes.
Would you mind if I interrupt a little bit? So I'm basically just transferring messages from basically a Telegram group that's verified to change the students to you.
Yes.
And basically, I think we all appreciate that you're willing to come out tonight, but it's already very late, and I believe that not every student is willing to, well, stay here and finish this not informal forum. And also, this is a very dangerous space for us to just all sit here and hear you talk. So the group has proposed three points for you to consider.
I would like to say that if any students are in a rush to get back home, maybe you can leave first now, because Professor Zhang has already pledged that he will make an open meeting. So I'm just suggesting if you want to leave now, feel free to do so.
Excuse me. Professor Zhang, I'm so sorry, but I think it's no point for us to continue to stay here and listen to you to repeat your own statement. And from your answers just now, I think you still lack the understanding towards the current situation of Hong Kong. And I don't think at these conditions, you can make a proper response to our students. So we sincerely hope that you can arrange another open meeting so that we could meet you in another arrangement with you well prepared for it. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
And there are a few conditions of this meeting. First of all, it must be a public meeting where media will basically stream live. And the second condition is that you have to follow the HKU-SU Council standing orders. With all respect, I have to learn what is your order in that book. So allow me, please, to look into that. But I'm, in fact, before even you make a request, last few days, we are already planning to hold a dialogue with a student to have some exchange with a student and teachers and university community. This is actually in the planning already. So definitely I welcome the opportunity to have more discussions with you and to further. I understand some of you may have to catch the train, the last train, but definitely I'm happy today we have a chance to talk and to exchange some ideas. Thank you.
Excuse me, Professor, can you respond to all four questions that I've just mentioned? In the interest of time. First question is, would we consider identifying the movement as a civil disobedience that happened on July 1st, which is the storming of the Legislative Council, as a civil disobedient movement instead of a violent movement? Because there's clearly a use of force, but there isn't any people who got injured and harmed. I mean, you can say there's a potential of it, but if you just look at the outcome and the consequences of those movements, we don't see any people got injured and harmed. So would you consider relabeling the movement as a civil disobedient movement? That's the first question. And the second question is that, would you allow police officers to come in and arrest those students if they got arrested due to the protest? Third question is that, in any case that they got arrested, what sort of support network would the university provide to them? And fourth question is that, as an intellectual, would you support the establishment of an independent committee appointed retired judges to chair a committee that investigate the police brutality that happened on July 12th, June 12th, as well as on just over the weekend? Thank you.
So now, if I remember, second question, your question is about whether I should relabel or readdress, call it civil disturbance. Disobedience. Now, you must from law faculty probably originally. Now, I would say the violent act actually doesn't have to you injure somebody or you kill somebody. Somebody can blow up the bridge. What do you call them? It's a violent act, right? So I think that probably is not, again, I'm not a sort of judge or legal person, but I think it's a common sense for people to, see that use the force, strong force, and try to achieve something, right? I would probably still refer this as a violent act. Now, still, violent act could be, different degrees of that. That can be, arguable. I guess that's up to the professional to decide. The third question is about the police.
Would you allow police officers to enter campus?
No, I will not allow police officer to enter the campus to arrest the student if they don't have any lawful entrance or warrant. Okay, so they have to have a permit or lawful warrant to enter the campus. Okay. So and I think you may know. Well, some of you think about this scientist is just working on the bench and doesn't have any heart. I don't have to give you too many examples, but when I heard our canteen done, actually not too far from here, the student dan canteen, the new canteen opened, I think last summer, the food was bad. And I was reading actually some social medias. I don't read very often, but that was just one incidentally. I read the social media because there was a news about some new bridge, it's Zhuhai Bridge. And then I was reading, and then there suddenly pops up 15 comments. People say, oh, HKU student canteen is pretty bad now, that even new one. So second day, actually, I went to the canteen, spent 1.5 hour there, talking to students, talking to staff there to understand. Of course, some people say, we don't care, but I would say half of them say, indeed, it's worse than before. And third day, we have SMT meeting on Thursday, I remember. And I talked to our vice president who in charge of the overall student service, and I said, well, I'll give you 3 months, please, to fix this problem, whether to change the vendor or do something else. So we did it, and my information back right now from some of the students, including my own driver, actually, he goes there to take lunch. Now, the food he thinks that it's improved than many others, but maybe there's still some more room to do. Now, I do care deeply about the student, your well-being. And I met I visit actually quite high table dinners and student groups meetings and so on. In fact, next fall, we are going to work with my VP to look at how we are going to further enhance the student teaching quality. And these are all very important because before I even arrived, a group of students who spent time in Berkeley, UC Berkeley, as exchange students, came to my office. We spent 2 hours in my office. I hope actually maybe 1 or 2 is here, that talk about what they think HKU teaching versus overseas universities. There's a lot of actually contrast they made to me. And I say, well, let me get there and I'm going to talk to my VPs and teachers and deans how we enhance the teaching. Because teaching and undergraduate education defines how the university will be. Thank you. And what is the last question?
What about the fourth question?
Number 4, I forgot, I'm sorry.
Do you support an independent committee investigating on the police?
So,
do you support the establishment of an independent committee chaired by retired judges to investigate?
Yeah. So I believe, again, I'm not the legal person, but I believe now there is, as an intellectual, I believe there is a committee is already set it up, is independent, but now you can argue how independent it is, the degree of independence. Now, I do support, as an intellectual, the committee should be independent. I agree with you.
But the government opposes it. What do you think of it?
Sorry, Marcus, but I do agree that some of the students say this might not be the best occasion for us to talk, to discuss here. As first of all, I don't think Professor Zhang is well prepared and will understand our demands and our thoughts yet. And I think tonight it might not be the best place. The university drive might not be the best place for us to have this discussion. Then may I suggest that we adjourn this discussion here, and then we will settle a further meeting in the very near future. And the Students' Union, the University Affairs Committee, will update everyone as soon as possible once we settle down the details. I don't think it is not a good occasion for us to settle down the dates, times, venues here as well. That's why, would it be okay for us to settle down the details, and the University Affairs Committee will update everyone as soon as possible. And we hope everyone and more students will come in the coming meeting. And then we can have, and we also anticipate Professor Zhang to be better prepared and to answer our questions as well. I think you can only get a taste of it, but there are more to come. I think we need further discussion on the standing orders, as the purpose of having standing orders is to have an orderly meeting. So we will need further discussion on whether we need, we will adopt the standing orders of the Union Council.
Excuse me. I want Professor Zhang to promise that this meeting will be an open forum for all students.
Will be open forum.
Professor Zhang, first of all, we will only settle with an open forum that we allow all students and also media to come. And secondly, we anticipate and we also want the meeting to be settled within next week. No further delay. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I promise.
Okay.
All right. Okay, good night. Students, let me make a half-minute statement. I know a lot of anxieties, a lot of worries, and I assure you, university do care about you, okay? And I may look like a code scientist, but I assure you, we will do everything we can within our power to help our students in this difficult time. And I will make sure the university, our community, will get together. Thank you.
And the University Affairs Committee HKUSU Council will update everyone about the upcoming meeting via mass email and also Facebook. Please stay tuned and we will update you as soon as possible once the details have been settled. We will only settle for a public meeting, and the meeting shall be held within next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Professor Zhang, will you apologize for what you have done to cause the sadness?
我哋出邊有個紅外線，冇事，紅外線得。OK， 唔該曬，得生得。唔好意思。